Ladies and gents, how do? Welcome to our next instalment of the restoration of Steve Parrish's 1985 Formula 1 bike. Just a quick mention that although a lot of what I do relates to the RD500 road engine, Dave Johnson, when he did this, made quite a few alterations to it. So don't take it that it's going to be exactly the same as your bike. This is how Dave built the bike. So, cast our mind back. We had a water, when I stripped the bike down, there'd been a water pump failure, drive gear failure. So that is the drive gear there that goes here on the crank. That had failed and caused damage to the primary gears, which is, I've got it here somewhere, bear with me. Right, okay. It had dropped down and damaged the primary drive gear, as you can see there. Very little else was damaged, fortunately. So it was a matter of new gear here and the new water pump drive gear, which obviously I have that now, and I've got the water pump driven gear. This is the drive gear, the driven gears on the pump. So there we go. Let's look at assembling this back up. There's nothing difficult about it. We'll start off with, I've already cleaned the parts down. There's a thick flat washer which goes on first. That one's on. Now have the clutch basket and primary gear itself. So we're going to put this on. Before I do that, it may be difficult for you to see, I've marked them up with some white paint. There's a mark here, okay, and there's a mark here on the case, the little arrows cast in. There's marks also behind the crank just here on this side, and again, see, Dave's done his own on this one, so bear in mind it's going to be slightly different. There's a little mark on there, lines up here and one here. Why is that? Well, look, the cranks, it's a twin crank engine, they've got to turn in relation to one another, so consequently they've got to be timed up so that's possible, and obviously they both connect up with this gear on the back of the clutch basket. It just means on every rotation these are turning in relationship to one another and don't get out of sync. So back again, put our little washer on the back. We're going to put the basket in, a little bit of a juggle. I've got to line up the, make sure the gears are lined up. Right, okay, we're in, that's done. That's straightforward enough. We can check our marks. I haven't moved here on the crank. Next part will be this washer here. A close look at that. That's onto our, little bit fizzly that one, that's gone on. Then our clutch hub. Okay, this can go on anyway. They're not marked up specifically, they can go on anyway. So let's pop that on. That's in place. Put a lock tab in, which will engage on the gearbox input shaft. On there, and then we've got our nut. Okay. So the first thing to do is to tighten this hub nut. Okay, so you need a holding tool for this clutch hub. You've got to be careful you don't cause any damage to the outer basket and to these pillars where your clutch springs locate. Okay, so in this instance we have one which has been handcrafted using 3 steel clutch plates, all welded together on a bar, quite substantial. I think you'll agree, have a look at that. So this is going to go on to onto the, it can't push right in, it can't go in much further than that because of the basket itself. So it's like that rest. I've got a torque wrench, always use a torque wrench, and this particular nut is set to 90 Newton meters. Okay. just bear with me. It's a click type torque wrench. As soon as the correct torque's reached, you'll hear a click sound. We know that's right. What I'm going to do is, a second, I might be able to do it this way. Okay, so we're getting to feel some tension now. So listen up, and we should be able to get that to torque up. Okay, there we go. I'm happy with that. Having done that, our next bit is to fold over the lock tab in here. The lock tab is to mechanically lock the centre nut in place to ensure it doesn't become loose. Because if this comes loose, your whole clutch and primary system is going to fall apart. Okay, that's done. Just going to double check that our marks are all in place. For our crankshafts that were tied up correctly. Yep, everything's good there. Just put these heads to one side. Okay, our centre's tightened up. Got to tighten up now our primary drive gears. Torque settings slightly lower. They're down at, it's only by 5 Newton meters. So we're going to back the torque wrench off a fraction, which we've done. Now, obviously, I can't hold this hub to tighten these two because the gear ratio, it's going to be difficult to hold that in place. So what I've got to do is I've got to find a way of stopping this lot rotating while I can still tighten up our nuts. Now, what Yamaha recommend is get a small piece of rag, just wrap this up and then drop it down into the gear. Now, it'll compress a little bit, but not that much, and it'll cause the system to lock up, and so you can tighten this. Because the rag's soft, it won't damage the gears. You can also use a bit of lead to put in there. Same thing applies. That shouldn't cause any damage. So we'll just try it with a rag first and see how that goes. And let's have a look at tightening up the I'm going to fold that up just a little bit more. So you can tell I haven't done a trial run. Right, let's try again. Sorry for that little wobble there. That's going to need even more folding up. Okay, so we should be right there. Again, we'll wait for the click. That's that one done. Same here. As you can see, it's a little bit fiddly trying to hold at the same time and tighten the bolt up. Hopefully you can still see this. There we go. Pull nice and steady on the torque wrench. Don't try and jerk it. Nice and steady. Okay, so we'll turn that back. That's out of, we don't longer need that. Another little tip, when you've used a torque wrench, always make sure you wind it back. If you leave the spring inside under compression, it can send the torque wrench out of calibration, so always wind that torque wrench back. You can get digital type torque wrenches which will give you a clear readout on them. I found click types more than good enough for motorcycles. If you're on aircraft, you want something perhaps a little bit more accurate for motorcycles, that's going to be fine. Okay, not a lot more to show you on this until we get the clutch plates come aboard. And new clutch plates, I don't have the friction plates, I have brand new Yamaha steel plates. At some point I'll do a video of actually assembling the clutch plates again, which is pretty straightforward. Okay, all, listen, hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you keep coming back, subscribe to the channel, press like if you've liked it. Have a great day and be lucky.